All right. So in today's session, I'll be discussing about few concepts, few transformations. So how to perform typecasting on a particular typecasting is basically what to convert from one data type to another data type. We will be making use of this typecasting concept. So we'll be discussing about how to typecast a particular column, how to use this with column transformation, with column renamed transformation, filtering, and literal. Okay. So we will be covering few of the transformations in today's topic. All right. So let me go to the portal Databricks. This is our Databricks workspace. Launch the workspace. Create a new notebook. Okay. So today's notebook I will name it as typecasting with column. Okay, no problem. Typecasting filter. So let me just, default language is Python. If you want to change it, you can change it. This is your cluster. Let me just create it. So meanwhile, let us switch the cluster on because it will take a couple of minutes, right, to get the resources allocated. So that is why it will take a couple of minutes. Let it take. Let us go to the notebook. So let us see yesterday's notebook once. So this is the notebook which we have created yesterday, right? So you don't have to always come here, copy paste it. Once you write it, right, you don't have to always copy paste it and do it. So what you can do is you can also export this particular notebook. You might have written whatever code you want, you would have written, right? So if you want to just have a copy of it, like if you want to save this particular notebook onto your local machine or else onto your particular machine, right, you can do that by just clicking here. Just go here. You have something called as an export option. Export as HTML file. Okay. If you export it as a HTML file, how will that be appeared? It will be something like this. Okay, it will be something like your notebook only. It will be similar to your notebook only. Whatever output you have received, right, that output you will be having. Whatever code you have written, right, that code will be present along with the detailed output. Okay. So if you want to export it, you can just go to that particular notebook where you have some notebook wala option, right? Just click here, export, and use in the HTML wala format. Okay. So if you just export it like that now, it will be something like this. Okay. You can just it will be downloaded. You just save it in your particular folder. All right. So if you use an HTML format only, it will be saved in this category. It will be like this. Whatever you have written in your notebook now, if you want the similar kind of format, the look and feel to be present, you just make use of this HTML wala format. Okay. All right. So that is how you can save your notebooks. Okay, let me see if my cluster got switched on. No, it is still taking time. Let me open the new notebook which I have just created. Okay, so here what is this typecasting? Typecasting means what? So let me write it. Typecasting. So when do you typecast and what is this typecasting? Typecasting means data types will be present, right? So if you want to convert the data type from one, if you want to convert data type of a column, okay, for a particular column, if you want to convert the data type from one data type to another data type, another data type, so that is what your typecasting is. If you want to convert the data type from one, if you are having a particular column which is having some string data type, if you want to convert that into any other like integer data type or boolean data type, so that is called as typecasting wala option. Okay, if you want to convert the data type of a particular column from one type to another type, we call it as a typecasting. So it could be like different data types we have are like string, boolean, integer, decimal, blah blah. So we have different kinds of data types. Okay, so in whichever format you want to convert, you can just convert it. So here, right, we have different kinds of options to typecast it. So how to typecast it, I'll tell you. So once you have already defined your schema, assume that you have already defined your schema, and at a point of time, if you want to typecast it, okay, so at that time you have something called as this typecasting option. You will have to make use of those typecasting options. So okay, now the cluster is on. Now let me go to my, okay. So let me just copy paste this particular data here. This is another new set of data which I'm using. Okay. So here I'm having something called as an employee table data frame and then employee columns. Employee table data frame is having what? 6 different records it is having. And if you see here, this is not only a simple string. This is not only a simple string, but we have what? We have integer columns. We have male, female is there, and then this is also an integer column. Okay. So let us just quickly create a data frame. So how do you create a data frame? Spark dot create data frame. In that you will be actually sending your EMP table and your EMP columns. Okay. Then you will assign it to a particular data frame. What is the data frame here? I will just give it as a data frame underscore EMP. Okay. So, and then you will just display of data frame underscore EMP. Let me execute it. So for the first time when when you're executing, right, it will take a little longer time. Okay. Initially when you're executing this notebook, once you have switched on your cluster and once you're executing it for the first time, it will take a little more time. Okay. So or else other than that, if you are executing it after the first time, it will take a little time. Okay. So if you see here, the data has been organized in my column. So this is my df underscore emp wala data frame. Okay. So now let us just see the data types here. What are the different data types which are present? Let us see. If you see, what do I have long, something called as long is there, string is there. Okay. So whatever are enclosed within double quotes, those are by default strings. Okay, consider it as strings. And there are something if there are any number related information, it is considering it as long. So now I want a few of the data types to be typecasted. Suppose I have this employee ID. I want this is a long data type. So I want to convert this particular long data type to an integer data type. Okay. So I will tell you how to do that. So for that, let us just scroll down. Here we have the typecasting wala option. This is a print schema you are already aware of, right? Okay. All right. So here there is one EMP data frame. Okay. So for that particular data frame, I have this employee ID wala column, right? So if you want to convert this employee ID wala column, so let me just write here percentile MD. Okay. So if you, whatever in that particular cell, whatever code you are writing, right, if it is a markdown cell, what will happen? That will be considered as a whatever you will be writing, right, that will be considered as a header only. Okay. So if you execute it also, you cannot execute it. All right. So let me just quickly cut this and paste it in another cell. Okay. So here employee ID is what? It is a long column. So you'll just make use of your particular employee ID column, and here you are actually typecasting it. So let me just give it as data frame 1. Okay, so I have my data frame, and then you have something called as a with column transformation. Okay, so with column transformation here, if I want to convert a typecast from one particular data type to another data type, I am making use of this with column transformation. So with column will what? Actually it will try to take the column name. So here I am specifying the column name. All right, so this is the column name and I am trying to typecast that particular column name. So how do you give that? So we have a call wala method, I have told you now. So in that particular call wala method, you are just specifying the column name. So here I want to typecast my this particular employee ID. So here I want to typecast it to integer. Okay, I do not want to typecast it to string, I want to typecast it to integer. So just write the integer wala data type. Okay, so that is your first thing. After that, in the, if you want to typecast it, if you want to typecast so many at once, you can just make use of dot with column, and then whatever column you want, you can just specify. Okay, so here I want to also so if you see here in the above, what do I have this gender column, which is a string column. Okay, let me just scroll up. Mm. Okay, this gender column is there now, that is a string. Okay, employee is a long call, a long wala data type. I want to convert long to integer, and then this gender is actually a string. Gender means what? It is actually either male or female, so I do not want it to be string, so just for simplicity purpose. Or else, you, if you have any column something like flag, okay, flag is one of the column which will obviously expect either true or false, or else 0 or 1. Okay, so boolean will accept what values? Boolean data type accepts only either true or false, not it as 0 or 1. Okay, so if you want to if you have any particular values in a column which are having either true or false, or else 0 or 1, you can go with this. You can convert that particular data type to a boolean data type. Okay, all right, so that is what I just want to do it here. All right, let me just execute it here. Obviously I'll be getting errors. So first thing, EMP data frame is not defined. Why is it not defined? Because in that notebook they have used EMP data frame. But here what have I used? I have used df underscore employee. Okay. And after that you will again get an error. Let us see what error. Name call is not defined. That means column is a method which is present in our PySpark functions, PySpark libraries. So we'll have to import that. So how to import that? So now here you will have something like integer wala type is not defined bolke you will be getting. Okay, so integer type is present actually again in PySpark wale functions, PySpark functions. So let me just import that also. Okay, so at one point of time you will be getting different errors now. So based on that you can just execute it. You will understand the errors. So the more errors you get, the more you will try to understand the topic. Okay, the more learning you will be having. So whatever code I have given, if you just type this entirely the same code and if you just execute it all the time, what you will be getting, you will not learn any new things. Okay, so that is why whenever you are trying to go through this and try to apply this concept and create a new notebook now, just as I am doing, right? So just perform it in the same way. Okay, and see what all other errors are you getting. So just try to understand if you are able to correct that particular error or not. Okay, so now let me execute it. So here also I'll get an error. Why is that? Because if you see, I have an integer type here, but here I have imported the string type. Okay, so that is why I'm getting error. So let me correct that. Okay, so now if you see, I do not have any error. So if I just print the schema, right, I will be able to see if the data types, which is gender, and then the other one is employee ID, if those particular columns schema has been converted from that particular data type to the intended data type or not. Okay, if you see here, gender has been converted to boolean, right? Gender has been converted to boolean as I have typecasted it to boolean type, and then I have something called as an employee ID that was a string and I had converted into that was a long, I have converted into integer wala data type. Clear, right? It is very simple here actually. Databricks is, it's just that you will have to know the the syntax. So if you have the syntax handy, if you just make a note of these at one particular doc and you can make one document, now it will be very handy for you. Okay, so if you want to typecast it, you can just use it. If you want to add any column, you can just make use of, I'll be telling you in future sessions, with column transformation. If you want to rename it, you can make use of with column renamed wala transformation. If you want to typecast it, you can just use with column transformation again. If you want to select a few columns based on the index or based on the columns or based on directly the number names, you can just do that. Okay, so whatever, you'll just make use of these syntaxes one after the other, one after the other. That's it. Okay, so we have converted from this particular data type to boolean and integer. So now let us, okay, so I have not displayed the data, right? Let me display the data. Display of df1. Okay, so this is the data. So this is just an example I have specified. If you see here, a gender column, what did it actually take? It is only taking me false. Okay, so that is just an example. If you have any option which is actually converting from, if you have something like zeros or ones or else true or false, only then just typecast it. Okay, so since I have typecasted it, it is showing me some null values, null, false to those options it is telling, but I do not want that. But I just want you to understand that using this you can typecast it. That is clear, right? So let me quickly remove this. I do not want this to be typecasted. I just want to show you an example for boolean. So that is why I have just displayed that. So here I will remove it and I will compare the parentheses. So if you see here, you will easily understand, like if you just move your cursor, right? So based on that, you will easily understand at which point my cursor is actually present. So now if you see here, my gender values have been updated. Okay, got it? It is just an example for you to show. That's why I have just typecasted this to boolean. Okay, boolean will actually accept what values, either true or false values. So now I have removed that. So as it is, whatever it is present in the initial data frame, right, the same values have been displayed. Okay. All right. So now let us just quickly go to the next one. So there are not only one way to perform this typecasting. There are multiple ways as we have for select wala transformation, correct? So now let me show you the next wala method. df2. Here what is the data frame? df underscore emp is the existing data frame, right, on which I want to typecast it. Okay. So let me just see if I have employee department ID. Okay, I have employee underscore department ID wala column, and then I have, yeah, so this employee underscore department ID ka column ka value kya hai? It is in the format of string. So employee department ID, a wala. So this one is actually as an integer, but it is actually here, if you see, it is in the format of string. Okay, because it is enclosed in double quotes. So I want to convert this from string to integer. How do I do that? Using method 2. This is my method 2. Control X. It. Okay, so now this is the column, and on this column I just want to specify it. So if you just see the previous syntax, it is a little different. Okay, here what do you have? You have something called as with column you have used. Here also I'm using the same thing, and then dot cast I have used. Here if you see, I'm directly sending this one. Previously I have sent integer type, string type, boolean type, like that I have sent. And that is the method. Actually, if you see here, this is the method. If it is enclosed within open and closed curly in this parenthesis, then that will be your method. Okay, that particular method I have imported. Now here, instead of this method, I am considering integer wala direct keyword, whatever is there, right? I'm just trying to send that. Now let us execute it. No, before okay, now let me execute. 1 minute. Okay, so let us see if this employee underscore department ID has been converted. Yeah, it was converted. Okay, so previously it was in string, now it got converted to integer. Okay, instead of giving the method, you can also specify the direct. If it is an integer, just give the integer. If it is string, directly you can just specify the string, whatever format you want to, whatever data type you want to convert, you can directly give that particular data type. Okay, clear? Let me just display it and see. I'll display it in the next one. Display of df2. Okay, now employee underscore department ID. This has been converted to integer. Okay, so this is one of another method. Let us see the other method as well. One minute. Okay. Okay. So this is another method. So using this method, you can actually typecast it. So here, in the previous one, we have seen, we have used with column wala transformation you have used, and then we have made use of call keyword, and then you have used cast, and then you directly send the either method or else the entire word. Okay, so here in typecasting also, if you want to rename a specific column, okay, so when you're typecasting itself, if you want to rename a specific column, let me just write that here. While typecasting, if you want to rename a specific column, you can do that using this in while typecasting only. If you want to rename a specific column, it could be done. It could be done. So how to achieve that? Using this is one of the method which this is one of the syntax you have. So using this you can achieve it. Okay, so here we will have to give our respective data frame. What is the data frame here? Df underscore employee data frame dot select. Okay, so you are able to get it right, guys?
Yes, ma'am. For me it is.
Mm. So once you execute only, you will understand. Okay, so if you execute now, you will face errors, and based on that you can just resolve that. So here, what am I using actually? Till now I have used I have used with column transformations, and I have not selected a specific column. Here if you see, if you just observe the upper wala, I'm not selecting the specific column. Instead, I am selecting all the columns. Okay, so since I have not explicitly selected a single column, that is why I'm getting all the columns here. But here, what am I doing? I'm using this select wala transformation. This is one of the method. So using this select keyword, what am I doing? I'm trying to select that particular column, and I am typecasting it. Okay, I'm typecasting it to integer. After that, what am I doing? I'm just giving an aliasing. Aliasing means what? You are actually trying to rename a specific column from one name to another name. Okay, aliasing means renaming column from one name to another name. Let me just execute it. Okay, I have executed it now. So if you see here, this is the renamed wala column. Let me just try to display it. Yep, I'm just clear off df3. Okay, since you are only trying to select this particular, since you are only trying to actually select only one column, which is a salary column, and since you are typecasting it and you are aliasing it, right, whatever the column has been aliased, right, that particular column only you will be getting. Okay, since you have made use of the select wala transformation, right, so since you have selected only one column, the aliased column only will be reflected. Okay, so since I'm displaying only that, I'll be getting that. So that is about your another method, which is using select transformation. Let me write it here. Let me just go back a little. You can either add a cell up or a cell down. Okay. Percentile comments using. Okay. This is another method. Method 3. Typecasting using select. Okay. Now we have something else called as select expression. Okay, so let me tell you how to make use of that select expression. So as you have select the transformation, you have select expression wala transformation also. Okay, so if you see here, let me just assign it to another new data frame and then give the data frame which is having my this particular salary column as normal. It is string, right? So initial data frame is my, what is my initial data frame? The initial data frame is df underscore employee, which is having all initially what I have not performed any transformation, right, inside that particular data frame. So I have all only first and last or long, and everything rest all is string. So on that data frame I'm trying to typecast it. Why is that? Because already I have in the previous data frames I have already typecasted it, right? Salary I've typecasted it to integer, and then I have typecasted here gender to this particular boolean, and then I have reverted it. That is also fine. So I have done few transformations, right? So since I do not want that to be affected, I have taken the main data frame. What is the main data frame here? It is df underscore employee. Okay, so on this I'm again trying to perform few typecasting by using which method? Selected expression, select expr. Okay. Yeah, all right, so here what am I using? Instead of using dot cast, I'm directly giving it in the format of a string. Okay, select expression. Here whatever expression you want, you are just writing it. So here I have a column called a select. I have a column called as a salary column. In that particular salary column, I'm converting into integer. Okay, and then I'm writing it as salary. Let me just execute it. Okay, so now previously I have done it as, if you just give it as capital salary, then that will be in the format of caps. So since I just do not, I want it as it is, whatever it is there, I just want to be displayed as it is. So let me just display and show it to you. Display of df4. Okay. Okay, now this one. So using an expression, you are actually trying to typecast a particular column. So let me write that in the heading as well. MD word 4. Fine. After that, what do we have? Using spark.sql. Okay, so let me just do that. So again, this create or replace tempo, this is there now. So again, I will tell you this. Write the data frame df underscore emp. Okay, so here I have a data frame. So using that data frame, what am I doing here? I will just name it to df5 because we already have df4 now. Okay. So here I am trying to using this create or replace temp view. Okay, using this create or temp view, what am I actually doing? I have a main data frame which is having some columns are there, right? So initially I have some 7 to 8 columns I have, and I have some data. So that data is present inside my data frame, right? Inside my df underscore employee, I have that particular data is present. Like I have different columns and few rows are present. All right. So let me just quickly show you here. This underscore emp. Let me execute it here and show you. Okay. So this is the data. Okay, so this is the data which is actually present inside your df underscore emp. Okay, so this is the data present. All right, so now on to this particular data. This is what, again, this is a data frame and not a table. Okay, you can just correlate it with a relational database table, but it is not an actual table. All right, so here using this create or replace temp view, what am I doing? I'm taking the reference of this particular data frame. Okay, I'm just taking a reference of this data frame, and on top of this data frame I am creating a table. Okay, sample data frame wala table, sample table, emp table something. Okay, so I am just specifying that particular data frame as a table. So from here after, if you want to query, if you want to perform any kind of querying, or if you want to typecast it, you can achieve that using this sql wale statements will be there, right? Like select a star from that particular table. If you want to typecast it, you can just typecast it like this. Okay, so initially what am I doing? Actually I am taking a data frame which is an employee data frame. This as a reference I'm taking, in the same data, whatever data is present inside my data frame, I am just creating a temporary view on top of it. Okay, temporary view or else a temporary table I'm creating. Okay, I'm creating a temporary table. So using that particular table now, so hereafter you do not have to use this df underscore employee, because you have converted that particular, you have actually created using this particular data frame. You have created a reference, you have referred this particular data frame and created a table or a view. Okay, so if you want to, in our sql, what will happen? You do not have these data frames, right? So in spark.sql, this is PySpark wala sql, right? So in your notebook, if you want to convert a language from python language to sql language, you can use your percentile sql wala option. So that is one option available. Okay, but inside your data frames only, inside the same python language only, if you want to make use of, you have something called as this function, you have spark.sql. Okay, so your data frame will be there. On that, on top of that data frame, you will be creating some table. Okay, so using that table, you will be actually querying your data. Okay, select the star from that particular table name, or else if you want to insert into that particular table, delete from that particular table, like that. Okay, whatever sql queries you want, right? You can apply those sql queries on your table, not on your data frame. Okay, so here what am I doing? Actually using the spark.sql, this is one of the method which is present. So using the spark.sql method, I'm directly sending the expression. What is the expression or the query here? Select this thing from employee table. Okay, so this is the table which I have created. So onto this particular table, what am I doing? I'm typecasting it. How am I typecasting it? Int of that particular column. Okay, so if I just give this, now my column will be what? Now my salary column will be an integer. Okay, so let me just execute that. See here, salary is an integer. Okay, if you just specify string here, it will be your string, something like that. Okay, so let me just display it. So this is also one of the method. Okay, so in your sql, if you want to query your particular data or query your table, how do you do that? On top of your data frame, you can make use of this create or replace temp view. Okay, let me write it here. Create or replace temp view. If you want to query, if here you are just trying to create a table, so on top of that table you are actually trying to query that particular table. Okay, all right, so here let me display it. All right, so this is your salary wala column. It has been typecasted to integer. Okay na, got it, right? You have understood this create or replace temporary view. This is just we are taking the replica of our reference of our table, this particular data frame, and on top of that data frame I'm actually trying to create a table which is my employee table. Okay, so this is related to some employee, right? So I have just given some employee table wala name. You can just specify any name here. With that name only you will be querying. Okay, how do you query any data from a particular table? So the syntax would be something like this. Suppose if you want to read data from a table in SQL, so what is the syntax for it? You will be writing something like select star. Yeah, so you have something called as a select star from table name. So using this particular select star from table name, you will actually query the data. So here star means what? All the columns, whatever columns are present, those all columns will be displayed. Or else if you want only few columns to be displayed, then you will just write the names of it. Okay, column 1, column 2, column 3, so on like that. All right, so this is how you will be querying the data from a table, but only here whatever columns you have specified, only those columns will be displayed in this particular table. Whatever columns are present, right, only those particular columns will be displayed. But if you want all the columns to be present, all the columns to be displayed, then you will use star. All right, so this is one way to, this is actually a way to query the data from your table. Okay, clear, right? So if you want to typecast it, how am I trying to typecast it here? I'm just writing instead of that particular column, right, I'm actually giving the column name. Okay, whatever column name you want and whatever data type you want. So here I'm typecasting it to this particular column. I'm typecasting it and I am just writing that particular table name. Okay, now is it clear, guys? So this is your typecasting. Actually this here, right, I am actually performing the typecasting. Here what am I doing? Here I am fetching or reading 3 column values from table. Okay, got it, guys? Were you able to
Yes, ma'am.
understand? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let us see what else we have in this notebook. I guess that's it in this notebook. Let us move to the next notebook. Okay. Okay, so here we have another method to perform this typecasting. Okay, we have seen this one now. Column dot, this thing we have seen, right? Dot cast of that particular data type. I guess we have seen this. Yeah, we have
Yes,
seen
ma'am.
this.
And the second method only we have seen this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So using this with column transformation, right, not only can you achieve this typecasting wala option, if you want to manipulate the data also, you can do it. Okay, so now let me copy paste this query. Okay, again 1 minute. If you see here, this is confirmed Indian nation, that is COVID related data. And my here in this particular notebook, I have what data? I have this data. Okay, so what is the, okay, on this column I'll try to apply this transformation. Okay, employee underscore department ID. Okay. Copy paste it, write your data frame df6 is equal to df underscore emp dot with column. So using this with column, what all you can do, I'll tell you. Using your with column, you can typecast, actually add a new column. Typecast an existing column, add a new column, and then you can also, you know, perform this data processing, like data manipulations also you can do. Like if you want to perform some arithmetic operations to a column also, you can do that. Okay, as I'm doing now. So here I have emp, let me just copy that, emp underscore department ID now. So this is a column which I have. So this particular column I want to actually multiply it by 10. Okay, so let me displayed displayed of df6. So now if you see here, previously my employee underscore department ID was 10. It's just an example, okay? So how to perform arithmetic operations on your on this particular data type. So that is how I just want to show you this example, okay? But I'm not trying to multiply this employee underscore department ID. I just want you to just forget about the column here. I just want you to understand, if you want to multiply any particular column, or if you want to perform any kind of arithmetic operations, right? You can do that using this with column transformation. Okay, using with column you can actually multiply it or add it or whatever you want to do. If it is an integer only, again you can do it, okay? If it is a string, it will be getting, it will throw you an error. So let us see what else we have in the next one. So here I have something else called as a
Ma'am, it got stuck, ma'am. Is it for me or is it for everyone, guys? Hello?
I think everyone.
yeah,
Everyone,
for me also.
maybe.
Okay.
So I have received a call onto another number, so that's why my hotspot got disconnected. Sorry. All right. So here we have something called as a literal, okay? Lit is nothing but your literal. Literal means what? So at any point of time you have some column. If you want to actually send some other,
Ma'am, I can't see you, ma'am.
Madam,
I
screen
can't
not.
see screen, madam.
Hello?
yeah, now fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so you have something called as a literal. Lit means literal. Okay, lit is a function. Actually, lit is a method we have in our data bricks. So in our PySpark. So here actually lit means what? It is a literal. Okay, lit means a literal. So if you want to convert your literal, like if you want to just send, if you are having some value and if you want to rename that value from one value to another value, something like if you want to send a constant or if you want to hard code any particular value, okay? Send a constant or hard code any value, you can make use of this lit wala function, okay? I will tell you how to use that. Okay, so here where is my notebook? Oh, see, we didn't lose any of our data. If I don't save it also, it will be automatically saved, auto saved, okay? Underscore emp dot with column. So with column is one of the transformation which we have. So using inside this with column, you can perform different kinds of transformation. So one of that is if you want to actually convert a particular value. If you want to just hard code a value, or else you can, if you just want to send a constant, you can do that using this with column wala, with columns lit method, okay? So here what am I doing? I have just taken a column. Actually this is related to COVID data. So let me see. Mm, okay, all right, or else. Let me take which column? Name column. Let me take. No, I don't. Okay, no problem. Okay, let us take some column, which is the column here. Name is one of the column. So this is about your lit. So let me just use that particular column. So here my column is name. So here inside this particular column, I just want to send some constant value I want to send. Okay, so something like this. So let me just display and show you the result. If I have that COVID wala data, if I just read that and apply now, it will be actually good. Or else shall I try to do that? Just give me 1 minute. Spark.read.csv. I'm quickly reading the data, okay, which is my COVID data. So on this COVID data, now I can perform. Okay, so here I have country. If you just scroll here. Okay, let me just remove this and then let me add. So here my data is COVID. Let me add df underscore COVID. Okay. Execute it again because I have changed the data frame, right? All right. So now what I want to do, I want to apply this with column wala transformation. So using this with column wala transformation, I actually want to send a constant, or else I want to hard code a constant. So how can I do that? This is casting, multiplying. Okay, this one. Okay. Let me just use this because now you are aware, right? Like if you do not import it, you will be getting error. Okay, so that is not an issue. Let me just write it. Okay, so initially I'll start with one. df7. So here, what is the data frame actually? df underscore COVID, right? So here I am actually trying to add a new column, which is a country. So onto this particular column, what is the default value or else the constant which I want to send it? I'm just sending this India as a value. Let me execute it and see. So if you see here, in this particular data frame of COVID, you do not have a country wala column. Okay. So if you see here, one country column will be appended to the last one. Okay, country column will be appended, and you are actually trying to send hard code a value in which you are passing inside this particular literal wala method. In that particular method, you're actually sending the value. Okay, this is the constant value, so that is why you are able to see it here. Clear? If you want to send, if you want to hard code any particular value, okay, if you want to hard code any particular value, or else if you want to send a constant or a literal, you can send it using this lit method, and inside that whatever value you want, you can just send it. Okay, now let us see the other syntax. Okay, so that is for one. Now if you want to, okay, let me just take this also. That is to perform for one single column. If you want to perform multiple things, how can you do that? Here I am only trying to add a single column called as a country. For that I'm sending it as India. So if I want to have something else, like since this is for country column, that is fine. If you want to apply this, if you want to add new columns, and if you want to send the literals, right? So how can you do that? for multiple columns. That is like this. Okay, so here I'm adding another country and I'm just trying to send the literal. So now here what will happen, I'm actually trying to use this with column wala transformation and I'm trying to add another country. Okay, for that particular column, after this country column, right, this another country will be created. So for that particular country, what will the value be? Hard coded value, it will be literal of UK. Okay, so UK value will be displayed. Let us see that.
It got stuck, ma'am, again.
Yes.
What happened? Okay, so if you see here, you have something called as with column renamed wala function. Okay, so this using this with column renamed wala function, what can be achieved? So if you want to actually rename a column from one name to another name, okay, let me just write it here. With column renamed is one of the transformation you have. So using this, you can rename an existing column with whatever name you specify. You can just rename it. Okay, rename an existing column. Let me just tell you how to do that. So here if you see, I have something called a state hyphen union territory. So I just want to rename this particular column. So how can I do that? Using this with column renamed wala function. Okay, and let me copy paste that. It will be simple. Okay, this state or union territory wala column is there now. I am just trying to rename that to a particular name, which is either state or union territory, whatever name you want to give, right? So what column you want to rename, that column you will be giving here, and to which value you want to rename, that particular value you will be giving. Okay, so actually here you will have to give the appropriate data types. So data frames. Let me display it. Let us see if it has been renamed or not. Okay, now it has been renamed. Okay, so using this with column renamed wala function, you can rename from an existing column name to a new column name. Okay, clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So till now you have seen how to add a column. If you want to drop a column, where is that? Okay, so on this particular column, so what is the data frame of this? It is df7. Okay, so on this particular data frame, I want to actually, I have something called as another country, right? So if I do not want to have this column, if I want to remove this column, how can I do that? I have a syntax for that. For that, let me just make use of df7 dot drop of whatever column you want to drop. You just specify that particular column name. Control V and df9. Okay, so let us see if the column has been removed or not. Okay, that particular another country wala column has been removed, right? So if you want to drop a specific column from your data frame, you can achieve that using this drop wala keyword. Okay. Okay, now very simple syntaxes. All right, you have understood today's session, right, guys? Let me quickly stop this one. Clear now? Any doubts? Let me know. Stop the recording.